All right, man. Kendrick, Perkins, and KD get into it over Eton Thomas' post on social media. I posted on the screen. It said he basically, Eton Thomas, former center in the NBA, said basically that Brooklyn dropped the ball. Losing trade, acquiring 3 superstars: KD, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving by trade, and Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving by free agency. I think they traded for Kevin Durant technically. Yeah, they did. DeAndre Russell. And then, acquiring Kyrie by free agency and then trading for James Harden and then having nothing to show for it. Saying that the Brooklyn Nets organization failed their fans and, it failed everybody. Kendrick Perkins came on the set on the Instagram post and said, with all due respect and all the stuff he be saying, it's called player empowerment. KD, Kevin Durant, Kyrie made all the decisions. Kevin Durant came back and said, Perk lying, Perk capping for the camera and all that type of stuff. He exactly said people like Perk be lying to make a living, have some honor. So, at the end of the day, so Kevin Durant saying they didn't have all the power in Brooklyn, but that's the perception. But perception is not always reality. So that's what we can say. Perception is not always reality. It could be perceived that they pulled all the strings and they did everything, and then Joseph Tsai came in with Sean Marks and said y'all not gonna run this no more. But then again, firing Steve Nash and kind of gave them the idea. Once you give somebody power, once you let somebody give power, you let them lead. It's hard to make them a subordinate. You hear all these stories about the king. Getting took out by somebody close to him. Usually the king get capped at the end of the story. A lot of great dynasties, leaders, you don't see them, especially when they wage war and they conquer stuff and, you don't really see them die peacefully in their sleep. A lot of times, they get overthrown, they get assassinated, stuff of that nature. So once you get somebody in a position of power like that, it's hard to make them step back and say, well, you'll be a subordinate now. You're going to be a follower. No, it's really, once you're that position of power, this is my power. And usually the only thing you can do when you don't like it is slip me a Mickey. You know what I'm saying? Poison dog cup, run of cup. That's the only reason you can really do something with them. You know what I'm saying? And, and obviously there's exceptions to the rules. But that's the perception, and I think if they ran the organization, they did what they wanted to do. My thing would be if that's the case, then Kyrie would have just played all the away games outside of Toronto, and they would have had their way. And obviously, you got a billionaire. It's it's only so much so much leverage he gonna let somebody else have over him. He didn't become a billionaire, or he didn't keep his billions by letting people run all over him. And at the end of the day, it was a lesson learned. You put Kyrie into the pot, and he, his track record has been almost cancerous wherever he's been. They was winning in Cleveland. He couldn't stay healthy for some finals. Was tired of LeBron, and they said that he didn't feel like LeBron wanted to win, so he wanted to go to Boston, have his own team. He really wanted to be the number one, and playing with Kevin Durant could be like, I want to hoop. You want to lead, you want to be that guy, go and do you. Kevin Durant is not a dude that's an alpha. That's why him and Russell Westbrook worked for so long. He let Russell Westbrook yell, scream, but when Russell Westbrook started competing for him for MVPs and shit, he was like, nah, this getting in the way of winning. That's the one thing people overlook why he left Oklahoma City Thunder. He was dealing with what LeBron and him was dealing with. He was dealing with it from the beginning. That's always been Russ. Not a great decision maker. Care more. He a hard worker, but limited in the skill department. And he's a competitor. He gonna compete with his teammates. When he seen Kevin Durant get that MVP, he had to get one. You know what I'm saying? And when you competing with your brother, it's like, nah, bro, you ain't here to win. You here to win MVPs and shit of that nature. You here to win triple-double titles and all that type of shit. Might got time for that, but Kendrick Perkins, so they do on TV, bro. It's hard. It's hard. People blame Skip Bayless for doing what he been doing. He been in the game, 40, 30 plus years, something like that. But when you've been an athlete, you've been in the locker room, and you start, you know, running your mouth on air and breaking the code, as, you know, as a former player of the locker room, you know, they should be the most understanding media. But, you know, at the end of the day, they got an agenda. You got to do certain things to stay in that spot. You love the benefits. You love the money. It's an additional income. You got to create a personality. You got to create, a persona. And that's what Kendrick Perkins doing. Who gonna whoop his ass? You know? So he could do as he please. Who gonna whoop his ass? He can have outlandish takes. He got an opinion. He can have an opinion like anybody else. And I think a lot of people, a lot of these players put too much emphasis in the media, but I get it. Because when the media meets social media at the same time, when media meets social media, y'all know what the business is. It's dangerous. A perception can become a reality or virtual reality in the social media world. And now you answering questions. Now the stuff that's being put out there is affecting your family life, your dating life. Your kids can read it. So it's very dangerous. When it was regular ESPN and reading the newspaper, that's different. But now you put the whole meta universe, Twitter and all that in there. And then when you defend yourself, you come off as hostile. It's like the person that, you know, that threw the first stone don't never get caught. It's always the one that throw it back. So how do you defend yourself? All this is still particularly new. Instead of Kendrick Perkins saying, you know, my bad, bro, I want to get your side of the story. Come holler at me. Let's chop it up, or let's do an interview. Let's chop it up about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you got a lot of players starting their own podcasts so they could tell their truth. But the funny thing about it, it's funny when a rabbit get the gun in this business. You know, you got a lot of dudes, you know, that didn't like the way the print media. That's kind of how I categorize the old media and the new media. New media is this podcasting, this social media, YouTube platform. And then old media is print media. Ones you had to, you know, journalists who had to write, go to school, you know, eventually they transition into television. And that's how I categorize it. And, you know, but what's so funny is you got these new media dudes who just like Kevin Durant, and I'm just using him as an example, not saying it's true with him, and they sit here and they criticize the media, but then they cross over and become the media, and a lot of the former players start doing the same shit that the media doing, a la Kendrick Perkins. So when you understand the way the game is, who gonna keep their integrity when they cross over to the media? Not too many people. And if you don't provide shock value, or you don't provide something good to being on television, to a podcast, it's not gonna track traffic. And that's what Kendrick Perkins is, you know, that's what he's realized. Like, I gotta say something for shock value. I gotta come up with sayings. I gotta show personality, and that's what they train them to do. So, you know, don't see a lot of these dudes cross over. You know, a lot of people that didn't like the print media, old media, they get on social media, start doing the same shit they was doing, but worse. So it's crazy, but you know, it is what it is. Let me know what you girls and guys think. But, you know, instead of hollering at them, you know, that would have been solid. You know, they know each other. Instead of hollering at each other and be like, yo, bro, you know, this, that, and the third. But Kendrick Perkins said, go whoop my ass. Ain't too many. So thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. The subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit all notifications, increase your chance, get notifications. We go live or drop video. Financially, want to support the channel. Cash App, $CJ Good 313, Venmo CJ Good 313, PayPal in the description. Hit the link tree, find me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole nine. Check out the NBA Talk playlist for more videos like this. My link tree, the first link in the description. Peace.